Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'm your host, Erin Bradley. And if it's your first time here, welcome aboard. We've got a great show in store for you with my new friend, Mallory Bogard. Guys, this is going to be a good one. Mallory has been selling real estate as we're recording this in 2025 for only 7 years, and she's already sold well over $1 billion in volume. She started scaling her business about 4 years ago, and even in 2024, she and her team did over 130 million in volume. She's a New York City agent working with the Sirhan team, and she's got an incredible story. We were talking before recording about what does it look like to thrive in this industry, in this market, and to persevere and to be committed to growth in spite of the odds. And Mallory is a shining example of what is possible. So I'm confident you are going to leave this interview feeling inspired, empowered, and armed with some actionable strategies to take your own life and business to new levels. So thank you so much, Mallory, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope for those same things. Everybody
Well,
listening.
I'm so glad you're here. I've been dying to get this conversation recorded and out to the world. So start from the beginning. What made you jump into real estate 7 years
Yeah,
ago? And then what's the story looked like up till now?
absolutely. So I'll give you like the semi-fast version, the highlights. But I grew up on an emu farm in Norman, Oklahoma, on the outskirts of Norman, Oklahoma. And never knew, growing up that I was going to land in New York City. It wasn't something that I was like, I gotta get off the farm. It wasn't, it didn't feel like that. I think all growing up, I loved Oklahoma, and I felt like the world would take me where I was meant to go. It's kind of always the mindset that I've felt. I went to the University of Oklahoma. I got a job in corporate straight out of college at Fossil in Richardson, Texas. Moved down, did my 5-year layover in Dallas, and got an opportunity to go to market in New York City for Fossil. And I loved New York City so much. I said, I have to live here. And I moved here 6 months later. I reached out to somebody I knew, another corporation, got a job with a watch company in New York City that was headquartered here. And I spent 3 years traveling the world with a position there. The girl from the emu farm who had never left the country found herself overseeing international markets. And people ask me how that happened. I just think that it was a combination of curiosity about other cultures and listening to other people and what their local markets needed, and combining that with what the mothership brand needed, and just making sure to mesh those two worlds. And one day I went to work, and I got called to HR, and like so many people before me, and not so talked about, I got laid off. And it was like my whole world, my identity. I spent 10 years in the watch industry ripped from me in one sitting of a desk, sitting down at a desk. And yeah, it was like, it really hurt to, essentially that's the best word to describe it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was in my early 30s, and I was just thinking the watch industry is shrinking. Should I leave? Should I stay? Should I start my own company? All of those thoughts. And my boyfriend at the time said, why don't you, he's now my husband, that's why I say at the time. He said, why don't you get your real estate license and help me in real estate? He was selling a few apartments a year, not a big business, didn't have like a business foundation set up. And I thought, yeah, like maybe I'll go help him. Maybe I can help him set up some things in his business to help him sell a couple more apartments a year while I figure my life out. And once I started, I really saw potential in it. I think why I was resistant to it at first was because I thought it looked hard in a way that maybe I spent 10 years building a career in another industry. I didn't want to start over. Starting over hard is like an extra level of hard. But I got into it, and I was like, no, I really see something here. I think I'm going to go full steam into this. And that was in January of 2018. And I have just been like pedal to the floor ever since.
Talk us through that shift. You say, I didn't want to start over. It looked hard. And then you went all in. And now I started with, the end in mind, which is the kind of volume you're doing now, which sounds different than where your husband's volume was when you joined. So what was the turning point for you guys to unlock the portal?
I think there were so many small decisions and steps along the way, but I think really soon after I started, I said, you know what, give me 2 years to really learn and understand real estate. We were on a team at the time. And I said, I'm going to help build something really big. I just felt it in my heart. And I said, but I need to learn the ins and outs of real estate. I'm a beginner. I've got to check my ego at the door, and I've just got to figure out, like, I have to go through the motions, like do deals, like help buyers, help sellers, figure out how to get a listing, figure out how to get a buyer, like all of that stuff, the basics, the bare basics. I knew I was missing that, and I didn't want to skip it. But people want you to skip part, like, oh, you don't need that part, you can skip to this part. But if you don't get those early lessons in you, I just think you can't build. I wanted to build a strong, real business. And I saw a lot of people in my industry, and I don't usually say anything bad about anybody in real estate, but I saw a lot of shortcomings in people. And I said, I want to do this, and I want to do it right. And I want to be a great real estate person for consumers of New York City real estate. And yeah, so I spent the first 2 years doing every single deal I could. It didn't matter price point, didn't matter if the client seemed difficult. Now I see red flags and I'm like, I don't know if I want to work with that person. But no, back then I saw the red flags and I said, I still want to work with this person. I'm going to learn from this experience. And after 2 years, I said, I'm ready. I was making six figures in year two. Year one, I think I made maybe $15,000. And I like to talk about that because you can, but I was filling up the pipeline, right? I had saved a buyer folder in the first year because I was working people's open houses for free. And just so I could talk to people too. And I saved 65 buyer folders. I closed one buyer that first year. But I was bulking up the pipeline, and I knew I could see energy moving in the right direction, and I was okay with the way things were happening. Yeah, so year two really got my footing, rocking and rolling, and started the Bogard New York team in January of 2020. I like to say January because we didn't start it as a result of COVID. We were, it was in motion essentially. But COVID did cause us to not hire any agents yet. So we did start building the team and scaling via human beings in January of 2021. And now today I have a team of 10. I have 10 agents, plus 3 staff members and full-time staff members. One of them is a video producer, does our social media. And we closed 130 million last year. We are almost to 100 million for the year this year, so expecting to do more despite our down market. And I'm really focused on the team. Leadership is the most important thing to me. Everything I was building all along the way, even when I was just me and my husband, I knew I wanted to build a team, and I wanted to help other people do the best of the industry and not have the worst things I saw in the industry. And I started building an SOP in 2019 when I was on a team. I started building my own SOP, and it's been a labor of love that I edit every week still. So I don't call it an SOP because I feel like that term is a little boring, but we're constantly making things better, and stop doing things if they don't work, and do things when they do work, and try new things, and having a percentage of our business that's plain and playful and just trying different things.
Talk to me about your major influencers in your learning journey, because you talk about how you essentially decided and committed to being an avid learner to really achieve mastery to the extent that you could as fast as possible. And then you instantly went to scale. There are people that I meet every day that have been selling real estate 20 or 30 years that have still not started to scale. And they are exhausted and they're hitting that plateau of personal capacity. So I'm super passionate about systems and scale and KPIs and SOPs and all these things. So tell us a little bit about, number one, who was influential in your journey to get to where you are right now?
It's hard. I don't have one person that I can really pinpoint, but I can definitely say that when I experienced positive people in business, like even my first job, I had a mentor, Diane Tigan. I love this woman. She taught me the most basic things that, just even about graphic design and laying things out on a piece of paper. And she just took time. She was much older than me. She took time to spend with me. She didn't have to, didn't need to. And it was just, it's consistently been people along my journey that have been helped me, that didn't have to, that made me want to do that times 10 for other people. And it's just a lot of like sprinklings along the way. And I have like, probably my branding icons. I have like my women leader icons, and I have my personal board of directors, which is really like my mom and dad and my husband. And I think that it's a community of people along the way that have, I just take notes. Like literally, I have like 100 notes in my phone, and they all have proper headings so that I know how to find them. But I pay attention to what people do that I like, and I pay attention to what people do that I don't like. And I just wanted to build the most elite professional sports team, real estate team that exists in New York City. And especially, I would say the last year, people are like, what are your guys' energy? It's just different. What are you doing? And I'm like, we just are leaning into the things that work. We're doing content, we're doing social media. And we're doing things our way. I got a private office so that we could insulate from the negativity of the media and the market, and just protect our wins and keep the momentum flowing. Because when you win and it's a really hard battle and you get to the finish line, instead of celebrating, we say, this is the time to hit that momentum, to turn that one win into 3 more wins. That is the opportunity zone. And I think so many people take a win and they're like, okay, great. Everyone's going to come to me. Here I am. Everything's going to come inflow to me. But that's not realistic, especially in my market. You have to outflow that win. If you're going to turn it into anything, you have to outflow it like times 10. So we're really big into taking one little win and turning it into more opportunities, and not taking a break at that moment. You can take breaks. You should take breaks, but not at the finish line. Like a race, maybe that's when you need to take a breather. But in real estate, I feel like that's when you really need to push through.
So, what are some of these best practices, your SOPs, even as it relates to what you're talking about here, for someone listening who's thinking, I don't know what you're talking about in terms of what do you mean turn that win into 3 times 10? Like, what does that look like for you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. So we have a roadmap. We also, for anybody that maybe has Sisu, we've built out roadmaps within Sisu. It's become a very important tool to me very quickly. We onboarded it in October, and it turned my roadmap from an Excel sheet into, I put it into the roadmap in Sisu, so things just don't slip through the cracks. But it's everything from like all of the major milestones. When you get a new client, there are things that should be sent to them every single time. And I feel like at the beginning, when we started building a team, we learned from so many mistakes. We tried to put something into the roadmap, which is what I essentially call my SOP, for every mistake that we learned. So if we didn't send our listing portfolio to a seller after we met with them, and they were like, oh, well, you guys didn't seem like you were selling so much in my neighborhood. And you look back and you're like, oh, we didn't send this to them that we normally do, or this. So then now it's like, I got a new seller. This is the checklist. These are the things that they need to receive. They need to be given something that they can touch and hold. So we've gone through 4 iterations now, but we have a really fantastic pitch book. The pitch book should have, a little mix of everything, but very photography heavy, so that you get a feeling on it. You're not just reading a novel, but you get a feeling of it when the seller's looking through the book. And it has like screenshots from our Instagram and our YouTube, and it has wins, big real estate wins, and beautiful photography of our listings. And we updated it every 2 years, but our iteration now, we ordered 1,000 of them. So we're probably going to have them for a little bit. But you just kind of keep improving it. And when I look back at our first iteration of our pitch book, I'm like, wow, it's so bad. Like, especially next to our newest one. But I'm so proud of the fact that we just still started. It wasn't perfect when we started, but we just did it, and we made it better over time. So like making sure that everybody has that they can feel, and then they're also receiving, a great follow-up email afterward. We have refined our follow-up email over time. So the follow-up email has to have links in it. It has to have, some press, but, delicately giving them all this information, what happens next, and the drip campaign that kind of goes after that. And then from the time that we sign up a listing, all of the things that happen after that are just non-negotiable part of our culture. Whether it's, I'm not going to pretend like we do postcards, but like I'm like everything like on boards, marketing wise, from the time that we sign up the listing. You get the photography, you get the floor plan, you get the copy. Those are the basics, right? What do you do with those? What are you doing with those to make the most of them? And running digital ads on videos and sharing like not coming soon is under scrutiny right now, but like doing a teaser on your Instagram. That's in my roadmap. Like doing a teaser on your Instagram. I have a 2-bed coming in Park Slope in a couple of weeks. If you're an agent that has a client, like all of those little things are in our roadmap. I dedicated being married to it for a long time so that it could capture everything. And every time, a mistake gets made, it probably turns into a line item in our roadmap.
I love that so much. I love the attention to detail. I love the revisions, the iterations, and the fact that you start out better done than perfect. Just get
Yes.
started and then
Yeah.
learn and grow as you go. Now, when it comes to your team and the 10 agents, are you structured where you and your husband are essentially the rainmakers, where the brand is attracting the volume, or are they also expected to be developing their own business?
They're developing their own business. And I tell you, when we let somebody on our team, we hand it all over. Like we don't keep anything from them. We show them how we procure, cold calling, who to call, what to say, everything we share. We tell them, if I have a listing, it's your listing. We just listed, I'll just say, a $6 million loft in Tribeca. You, Mary Jo on my team, and I don't have a Mary Jo, but you just signed up also $6 million loft listing. And we're going to go there. We're going to do some content together as a team before we launch so that you can feel like you know it, you can speak to it, and you can feel like it's yours too. And then you can use it. You can go call every neighbor in Tribeca and you can tell them about your new listing. You can say, do you have anybody that's looking to move into your neighborhood? Have you been looking to upsize? Or downsize? Using it as outreach and like a touch point that's like a real thing, something of substance to use, is what we share with our agents. So they also are definitely helping us work on our listings, but it's also for the experience and the exposure, and all of them want to work on all of our listings. But it's also them getting a front row seat to see the way we handle everything. And I think that that's experience that I wish more real estate agents in the market had before they could take on a listing themselves. I have conversations with some people and I'm like, man, some people really skipped the whole like being trained period. I think that yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't know that they should, that seem both so basic to me. So we have that special period of time where you work listings, you get this exposure to the way I answer emails, the way we handle this situation, that situation, negotiations. And I think that's making our agents really solid business people. And that's what's been really important to me this whole time, is not just being great at real estate, but being a great business person. And then, yeah, we're still getting listings. I still take buyers out, way less than I used to. I try not to have more than 2 buying parties under my direct oversight by myself. But I have staff, so I'm able to I have 2 full-time assistants now. And not to revert too bad, but when you asked like when you're able to really scale up your business, I think that I talk to so many people and they say, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's time for you to get an assistant. And they're like, no, I can't let go of control. Nobody's good. I tried this one person this one time. And I tell them, keep trying to find the right person. They're out there. I've gone through a lot of assistants myself. And it's a journey that you have to take, but it will change your life when you get the right person. And that is a really big, easy, explainable thing that I can tell people. Unless you feel like you have lots of extra hours in the days to do handwritten notes to your past clients and take, snack boxes at Easter and, all those things. And there's no time. There's no time to nurture past business, find new business, go hunting, take care of your deals. Like, it's a lot. We're all CEOs. I don't even call myself a real estate agent. I think we're all CEOs, and an assistant to me has got to be a non-negotiable, really. Like,
Yep. I could not. I literally just taught a workshop this morning on how to grow without burnout, and it's how to scale, how to hire. And one of the fears that we addressed was, I've tried it before and it didn't work. It's like, keep on
yes.
trying, because rock stars exist and they will change your life and change your business. And it's so important.
They say like the time it takes for you to find somebody, onboard them, realize they're not the right fit, and then fire them. You're like, it's so much time wasted. I'm like, you learn so much from that though. Like I have the best, I have a virtual assistant right now and an in-person assistant. My virtual assistant is the best I have ever heard of, I've ever had, like whatever. I love him. Could not picture my business without him now. And he just started in September. I had tried VAs before. I was actually, honestly, I had gotten the VA last year because I had an in-person assistant that wasn't able to handle the things that we were doing. And I thought it was the workload. And I said, I'm going to get a VA and see, how that goes. I'm going to try a VA again. And he was just so incredible. I knew within 2 weeks he was special. And then it made me realize my in-person assistant, this isn't the right role for him. And I realized I wasn't asking too much. It just wasn't the right role. And you're a puzzle and you're trying to find the right piece for that staff member. And it's not easy. But you have to listen to your gut. And you have to take time really to interview people and find different options. I think that was game changers for us. And now I have a great in-person assistant also. So, and she's been with us for not so long, but I hired an assistant in February in person, and I had to let her go really quickly because I knew it wasn't the right fit. And I get it. I had all this time put into training, onboarding. Even 1 week gone is hours and hours of your time, but it was so worth it because it got me to who I have today. So you kind of just have to look at it as a journey, and you learn from each even negative, situation that you have with a candidate. So
It's brilliant advice, and you're articulating it perfectly and 100% reiterating the message of this podcast. So I appreciate you sharing your story.
I
It's
was
so
I was
powerful.
that woman. Yeah, no, I mean, I was her because I was handling everything myself. And I was like, for me to release control of stuff to an assistant means that I'm going to have to double check everything that they do. So now I'm training them to do it. I'm going to double check everything that they do because I'm concerned they're not going to do everything right. They don't know everything I know, all of those things. I was that person. I am telling you, you didn't have the right assistant. You shouldn't have to double check everything that they do. It's like, that was the problem, is that I thought in my head that my assistant would cause more work for me, and it's incorrect. The right assistant takes a lot off your plate, and then you realize, you look back and you're like, what in the world was I wasting my time doing that?
I also like how you said it wasn't the right job for him, because there have been many times where I've experienced and seen others where at the end of the day, this business just isn't for everybody. So it's not a fault of the individual. If they're unhappy with the work itself and the role they're in, that's going to show up in their performance. It's not necessarily because they're not a good person or they don't care. They
Yeah.
just, maybe the job might not be right fit for them rather than them not being the right fit for us.
Exactly. And I have to tell myself that about agents too, because it's the exact same thing. And it's really, I would say, even harder because with staff members, sometimes I can be like, hey, like this isn't working out. And I don't know, it's sometimes a little easier than with agents who are going down a path that you went down, and just like how badly they want to be there and how hard they're working. But that doesn't mean that we're running a business at the end of the day. And you can't carry dead weight. It's something I've really had to learn over the last like year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. So talk us through your process then with supporting agents. Are you attracting seasoned agents? Are you attracting newbies? Is it both? And when they come to you, I mean, clearly you're building a brand that has turned you into a lighthouse in the storm. So I imagine there are people approaching you left
Yeah.
and right. So I would love to know, number one, what are your standards for saying yes to somebody? And then
Mhm.
number two, what is your promise to those agents?
The standards are, not so financially driven, but we have this very pure culture on our team. And it is like everybody who meets my team, they say, I freaking love your team. And that's the impression that people walk away with when they hang out with anybody on our team. They're down to earth, they're honest, they have integrity, they're smart, and they're funny, and they're just like good, really good, down to earth people. And I think that it's a feeling that I have, and that's not all, right? That's not all, because there's a lot of good people in this city and every city. But I just think that there is a feeling that people walk away from, and that we hold those standards so high that they continue to uphold them. And when you're dealing with an agent on the other side of a deal who's being really crappy to you, I like to remind my agents that we're above that and we're not going to go to that place that sometimes other people try to take us to. A lot of our agents are, I would say, very even keeled, and they all went to college. I think that all of them, I think, except for one. So there was an education background that I think was really important. We wanted all of our staff members to have a college degree. I think that helped us to, we didn't have that qualification in the beginning. And when we added it, we started getting better applicants, or we just got started sifting through them faster, I guess. The standards are that you have to work really hard. And, we've let go a lot of agents that weren't the right fit. And I think that they're like, you look back and there's signs of like, do they want to be here or do they want to pretend to be a real estate agent? And you see that really quickly. And the people that want to work are the people on my team. They are like down for anything. You need me to work a rental? Great, I'll be there. You need me to, work with this buyer that is $500,000 budget. That's really hard to find inventory for. I've got you. I'm going to take care of this client. And then those people that do that get our next big budget client that comes down the path. Like we pay it back to them, but just being like down and them knowing that they're going to learn from every deal, because none of them have done as many deals as, me and my husband, so that they should be turning anything away. Like I was, very recent. I just listed a $440,000 studio co-op in Park Slope. So I like the idea of just them being, down and hardworking, and there's not an excuse for why they missed the team meeting. I can't tell you the last time one of my agents missed one of my team meetings. At the beginning, I feel like they were all like, oh, I need to go to a walkthrough. Like they would time it so that it was like over the team meeting. And it was just because they didn't want to go to two places that day. They just wanted to go to one. And little things like that really are, I think, signifiers of if people want to learn the business and be dedicated to the business, or if they want to make a paycheck and pretend to be on social media. And those people gotta go. And the ones that want to be here and want to know the business and want to serve their clients, they can stay.
So with all of the growth you've had in such a short amount of time, what do you imagine you'll be celebrating 5 years from now?
Oh my goodness. I think that I want a happy, healthy, really well productive team. And people tell me, like, do you have your eyes set on like the number one spot? We were for our team size, we were number 8 in New York City last year. I don't know if number one is even the goal. If I have to, you know, sacrifice everything really fantastic that's going on right now, but I want to keep growing personally. I want my agents to keep growing individually, and I want us all to be, I want all of them to be financially healthy. And I think that to say my team of 10 to all be financially healthy is not easy. It's not easy in this market. But I want that. I want all of them to be easily making 6 figures. And I don't know. I know that's like a goal tied to other people, but it's still what I want.
I can relate so hard. I genuinely feel like it's interesting. We had a conversation today about integrity towards others and integrity to yourself, and how most of us would rate ourselves higher in integrity to others. But there is an innate thrill that comes from being of service to others and being of value to others. And if we make our why how this industry has the potential to change lives for the better, which I believe it does, I know it does. And it also has the possibility of becoming an albatross, right? But it can fuel and finance a beautiful life. And so to see it change lives the way I have, and it sounds like you are, it really can be fulfilling and rewarding. And it's just your heart and soul and your authenticity just shines through. And it's like a lighthouse. I imagine people just are coming to you.
Yeah, we definitely, like, I know my limits. I had 12 agents until very recently, and I'm back to almost 10. One of our agents is moving back to California. So we're going to be at 10 again. And I feel very comfortable at 10. I'm like, I like 10 agents. 10 feels really good because we go every single pitch they get, me or my husband go with them. You asked about like what we commit to when we bring on an agent. We commit to a lot. We set them up with all the materials and the access to the listings to leverage to grow their own business. And I just feel like we give so much that they're just so loyal to us. And I think that they're all really appreciative to have their seat. We do have 12 seats at our office physically. I like 10, but up until a month ago, we were full. I have a waiting list. I send people to my assistant. She adds them to the waiting list. But yeah, I think that we're always like curious what the next seats, like who could fill the next seats. And I think, number 11 is probably not that far away from being invited to the team, but it's important to know my limits. And I have a service level that I give all of my agents that I can't, that I won't break on. I answer all of their phone calls. They know I'm doing this right now and I'm not available, but like just being there for them has been really the most rewarding thing, like to see them win a big new listing. Like our agent, she signed up, she had a 20-year career in something else, but her third listing ever was a $12 million listing, brownstone listing in Brooklyn Heights ever. And she handled it like a pro and she sold it. And the wins around that they carry way harder than my own. I don't know. It's different. So
Well, it's really cool to see and to share with the audience that what I'm hearing and witnessing is that you've got strong values, a heart full of love and curiosity and eagerness to serve and be of value, not only to your clients, but to your team, to your partners. And that is the fundamental core value that allows folks like you to share stories like this in a market like this and be able to thrive. And I think that if our listeners could take one thing away from this, it's where can I show up and be of value to somebody today and have faith that that can be the fundamental baseline of how I can find my way to thriving in this market too, because so many people are just beat down and they're in fear and they're in scarcity and they're forgetting that all we need to do is unlock and unleash the desire within us to show up, to be of value, and to be unapologetically authentic in our pursuit of giving value.
1000%. And if there's anything in addition to that, just as like a reminder, it's that like outreach, as uncomfortable as it may be, is allowing us to win in this market also. And being different when you have your outreach and you do get your foot in the door, definitely also helps, like being authentic, being yourself. But you have to outreach. And I just think before I had my first really expensive listing, because like our first over $5 million listing was a $6 million listing, and I didn't know like what I was going to necessarily like do with it, but it's all the same service level. But after we got the first big listing, you're like, people are going to call us. Our phone's going to be ringing off the hook. That does not happen. We sold a $12 million house in a house that people said you're never going to get that much money for it. We're like, the phones are going to ring off the hook. Guess what? They don't. You have to reach out to people. You have to go out there and get what you want. It doesn't come to you. It's not build it and they will come, unfortunately, in real estate. So that's just the extra other like point that I've like really learned over the last few years. There's no successes that although we do get incoming calls now, especially the last like 12 months, more incoming calls than ever. But it's been because they see our name like at least 2 or 3 times. So,
you're touching upon the one other common theme that continues to show up on this podcast and in conversation with anyone I talk to who's, let's just say, having their best year ever, which it sounds like you are as well. And it's obviously the action piece, right? It's not just that you're a good person and then fingers crossed and hope for the best. It's the action. And more importantly, the massive amount of conversations. Every single agent or lender who is having great success in this market will tell you they're having massive amounts of conversations. And if the listeners want to be a secret agent, it's going to affect your results. So I think we all just need to encourage them to rip the Band-Aid off and get into conversation.
Yes. Get out there, talk to everyone, figure out ways to talk to more people that you don't know. That's how we're winning. It's like once they have the experience with us, be great, but you have to do something to pull them to you.
100%. So if folks listening want to find you, follow you, where are the best places to do so?
Yes, please. Mallory Bogard, at Mallory Bogard on Instagram is really the best way. And then at Bogard New York on Instagram, as well as our team account. So it's fun stuff. We're really, you'll see, we're authentic and we try not to just do home tours. We like to play with content. So You'll
I
see.
love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy
Thank
schedule.
you so much for having me. I had really fun talking to you.
I did too. If you heard something that sparked interest in you, a takeaway, an aha, be sure to send Mallory a message. You know, we always joke about putting this content out there and hoping somebody's listening, getting value. And I'm sure if you're still listening, you've gotten a ton of value. So make sure Mallory knows it and feels it because let's be real, words of affirmation are a love language.
It's my main one, so.
Me too. So send us a DM, reach out to us. And as always, I love you and appreciate you. And I implore you, if you are enjoying this content, stop what you're doing, leave the 5-star review. It helps us continue to attract amazing guests like Mallory and help this content get found so more people can build a life you don't need a vacation from. Love you. Appreciate you. See you next time.